In this, first we'll see the Bitcoin scripts. This is the basic for the concept of the smart contracts that we'll study in the Ethereum. So how this particular logic have been developed, or the idea has been evolved, is by understanding the Bitcoin scripts. So first of all, how the Bitcoin will process the transactions, that one must know. So in order to process the transaction and in order to verify the signature, in order to verify the keys, obviously some logic should be written within the protocol. Otherwise, it is not it is not possible for verification of any kind of digital signature, or maybe a key, or maybe transaction or something. So the original Bitcoin script relies heavily on the unspent transaction output to check whether or not a particular wallet has sufficient funds to execute a requested transaction. The UTXO model is a way of organizing a blockchain's ledger such that no funds are spent twice, avoiding the double spending problem. Once a UTXO is spent, one or more new UTXO are created as a result of the transaction. So what is the meaning of this? So the original Bitcoin script, so especially the Bitcoin has introduced the concept of the proof of work, and also it has provided a solution for avoiding the double spending problem. The double spending problem of a Bitcoin can be avoided in the by executing some logic which is called Bitcoin script that will heavily rely on the unspent transaction output to check whether or not a particular wallet has sufficient funds to execute a requested transaction or not. For example, a person have only one Bitcoin in his wallet, but he is trying to send 2 Bitcoins. So even though it is a digital currency and there is no third party to verify it, whether really so and so person is having uh, the sufficient balance or not. In a decentralized environment, without having third party or trusted third party, how is it possible to verify by a protocol? That is what the logic over here. Actually, this verification will be totally depending upon the unspent transaction output. The UTXO model is a way of organizing a Bitcoin's ledger such that no funds are spent twice. So the UTXO model's responsibility is to see whether the same fund has been spent twice or not, avoiding the double spending problem. Once a UTXO is spent, one or more new UTXO is created as a result of the transaction. For example, if a person is having 1 Bitcoin and he wants to send half bitcoins to some person B. Now that means out of 1 Bitcoin, zero point 0.5 Bitcoin has to send to person B. Usually, if you have a general transaction, there will be a bank transaction. Whenever you want to send in some amount, the banker, what he will do is he will deduct some amount from your account. Let's say, for example, 0.5 Bitcoin. If there exists third party, then that 0.5 Bitcoin will be sent to the person B's account. But here there is no third party. Then how it will be done? So it will be done just like this. The 0.5 Bitcoin that you want to send will be deducted from your account, and whatever the remaining 0.5 is there, that 0.5 will again send to your account. So what is the meaning of this? The half Bitcoins will be sending to the person B's public key, and whatever the remaining balance is there, that balance will be again sent back to the same address from where the deduction was happened. That means that second transaction, the second operation will also be considered as the transaction. So this is what the thing called the self or you call self deposit of the remaining amount. So once a UTXO is spent, one or more new UTXOs are created as a result of the transaction. So what is this as a result of the transaction? For example, I have sent zero point 0.5 BTC to some person B. Now the remaining 0.5 is there, which is unspent so far. This is not spent because this is belong to me only. So that is what we called here. Once a UTXO is spent, that means 1 BTC is an unspent transaction, unspent amount is spent. One or more new UTXOs are created. Here, first UTXO created is 0.5 BTC sent to person B. Unless until person B's identity is verified, this amount cannot be deposited to the person B. So till the time it is unspent only. Next, since 0.5 was sent to person B, remaining 0.5 BTC is belong to the self. So it is still it is again unspent in this case. So this first 0.5 BTCs are unspent till the person B verifies it, or person B's identity is verified. Second 0.5, anyhow it is not unspent. It is anyhow it is unspent. So it again belongs to me only. So once a UTXO is spent, one or more new UTXOs are created as a result of the transaction. So Bitcoin script is like this Forth is a programming language which was in the 1970s, a stack based reverse polish Turing incomplete programming language. So this is what the properties of Bitcoin script. It is a fourth language. Forth means it's a programming language. It is also a stack based programming language, and it will execute the instructions in the reverse polish notation. The reverse polish notation means postfix notation. In your data structures, in the expression evaluation, you might have studied postfix evaluation. Forth, like stack based reverse polish Turing incomplete programming language. Script resembles Forth, a programming language that was first appeared in 1970s. Postfix notation, example adding of 5 and 6 in the script must be written as 5, 6 plus. So 5 will be pushed into the stack, next 6 will be pushed into the stack since they are operands. Since whenever the plus operator appears, then you have to pop 2 elements from the stack and perform the addition operation, then put the resultant back the stack. This is the in general postfix evaluation will happen. Turing incomplete. In Turing incomplete languages, there will not be any nesting of the statements. So Turing incomplete means the script for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies does not allow infinite loops. That means nesting or loops are not allowed in writing the scripts. If you write a assembly programming language, either maybe of 80585 or 8088 or 8086, usually we'll write the loops like go to statement, go to certain statement, again repeat it, again go to certain statement, repeat it like that. But here there is no looping of statements will be is available or is possible in case of this Bitcoin script. This is what the structure of the Bitcoin script, and here are the Bitcoin script command opcodes. Where this exactly, who will write this script? By default, this script will be generated based upon the transaction that you make. In this, the top most commonly used opcodes are like this: OP underscore add, that is, it pops 2 items of the stack, adds them together, and pushes the result back into the stack. It is just like postfix expression. OP underscore equal pops 2 items from the stack and compares them to check if they are equal. If they are equal, then it pushes the result true back into the stack. OP return, OP underscore return can be used to store up to 80 bytes of arbitrary data on the Bitcoin blockchain and also to make a transaction output as invalid. Next one is OP return. OP return transaction outputs are probably unspendable, making this opcode an efficient way to burn the bitcoins. That means it will again return back to the same address or the whatever the just now example I told you. The whatever the 0.5 BTC that has to be received by me again after spending this 1 BTC, which is usually will become the unspendable, and making this opcode an efficient way to burn the BTC again back to the same account. OP underscore check signature, check SIG, verifies that the signature for a transaction input is valid or not. OP underscore check multi-signature. For example, if a transaction has been signed by multiple users, because if the amount has been received from multiple people, then commonly used to pay to script hash P2SH transactions. OP underscore check multi-signature looks at 3 public keys and 2 signatures in the stack and compares them one by one. Funds become spendable only when the order of the signature matches the order in which the public keys are provided. Otherwise, the multi-signature will become invalid and the transaction will be cancelled. These are the most popular, most commonly used opcodes in the Bitcoin script. And remember, this Bitcoin script will not be written by the users or miners or maybe anyone in the Bitcoin network. Based upon the transaction type, the script will be automatically generated and will be executed in the Bitcoin blockchain. So how Bitcoin script works? Recall the example that what we have discussed when the money is involved. Like Ramu wants to send 1 BTC to Gopal. This looks very simple, but it involves heavy work in the background using Bitcoin script. Bitcoin transaction involves at least one locking script and one unlocking script to determine who can spend funds sent to a specific Bitcoin wallet address. Now, Ramu wants to send 1 Bitcoin to Gopal. Now, it is very simple to simple statement, but actually, in the Bitcoin terminology, this Bitcoin transaction involves at least one locking script. One locking script means whatever the BTC send to the second party, that particular BTC will be locked. That lock will be unlocked only by the receiver, which is called unlocking script. So one locking script will be there and one unlocking script is there to determine who can spend funds sent to a specific Bitcoin wallet address. Ramu does not know Gopal's public key. So obviously the identities are completely anonymous in the Bitcoin blockchain. So Ramu does not know the Gopal's public key. He only knows the Gopal's address. This is what the thing called, this address is of base 58 address. So this address is a base 58 check encoded cryptographic hash of Gopal's public key. Whatever the Gopal's public key is there, that will be converted into base 58 encoded cryptographic hash value, that is called the address. Ramu can create the transaction by decoding Gopal's address to his public key hash. Now, whatever the base 58 check encoding is there, that will be decoded by Ramu to get the Gopal's public key hash. When Ramu sends 1 BTC to Gopal, a locking script called script public key is placed on the funds. So what is this script public key? It means that the one BTC is now belongs to Gopal only if Gopal proves that he is the owner of the BTC address. If Gopal is unable to prove he is the owner of the BTC address, that is Bitcoin address, then that transaction will be reverted. So now what Ramu is doing is he is locking that particular transaction and sending to Gopal. Now it is a Gopal's responsibility to unlock it. That is the reason in the first point I told you that Bitcoin transaction involves at least one locking script and one unlocking script to determine who can spend funds sent to a specific Bitcoin wallet address. When Ramu sends one BTC to Gopal, a locking script called script public key is placed on the funds. It means that the one BTC is now belongs to Gopal only if Gopal provides the valid or proves its ownership that this particular address is belonging to me on like that. Gopal now checks his wallet and finds the Bitcoin network identified one BTC for Gopal. Can Gopal now utilize the one BTC? No, he cannot directly utilize the one BTC because first of all he has to prove himself that he is the real owner of that one BTC. Can he send the same one BTC to other before verification? No, it is not possible because it is still unspent. Okay, still it is unspent. So that reason you cannot use this before verification. So can Gopal? This is two legal questions or two valid questions we will get here. Can Gopal now utilize this one BTC? No, he cannot utilize this one BTC at present because he has to prove himself. Then only the unlocking script will be executed. Can he send same one BTC to other before verification? No, obviously it is not possible to send to others before verification. So can Gopal send same one BTC to other before verification? To happen it, first Gopal need to produce input UTXO with the following requirements. What is the first requirement? The BTC Gopal is trying to send must refer the transaction in which he received the funds from Ramu by its transaction identifier. So he has to mention from whom I have received this amount, what is the transaction ID that need to be presented before he sent to others. When is it possible? When the transaction ID will be generated? Only when the Gopal prove himself that he is the owner of that amount or he is the owner of that particular address. The BTC Gopal wants to spend must refer the same index number, so called a vector out or vector V out, as the funds that Ramu sent to him in the first place. We have seen previously that a hash pointer, the hash pointer which is referring to the transaction from where the split has occurred, this also should also point to the same hash index number that from where the Ramu has sent this in the first place. If these two are not unable to produce by the Gopal, then it is not possible for the Gopal to send the one BTC before verification. So that is the reason there is no other go that he has to verify that one BTC and say that he is the original owner or he is the owner of that particular BTC. Then only these two will be generated, that is transaction identifier and the index number and a hash pointer will be generated. With these two only he can go for sending of this amount to any other account. So this is the way how the Bitcoin script works. So finally Gopal creates an unlocking script called script signature. Previously, what is the locking script? The locking script is script public key is the locking script. Unlocking script is script signature. Now here he has to verify that he has to provide the signature. So whenever he provides the signature, anyone can verify using his public key. So finally, Gopal creates an unlocking script called script signature Bitcoin script transaction input that enables him to spend the funds. The following is the example of the standard locking script for script public key for the above scenario. Here, OP underscore DUP, OP underscore hash 160. So this is the hash value. OP underscore equal verify, OP underscore check signature. Now this is the script will be generated. Now this script will be first to OP underscore DUP will be pushed into the stack. Next to OP underscore hash 160 will be pushed into the stack, and this hash will be value will be pushed into the stack. Now OP underscore equal verify. So whenever OP underscore equal verify occurs, then these two hashes will be pushed out, popped out, and will be verified. Then OP underscore check signature. Using this hash, the signature will be verified, and if it finds OK, then the transaction will be unlocked. Otherwise, the transaction will become invalid. So use tag to evaluate this script. The original implementation of the Bitcoin software was written in C++. Since then, additional implementations have been written in Python, Java, and Go. Thus, for the version of the Bitcoin software written in Go, the Bitcoin script inside it is also implemented using Go language. So originally, whenever the Bitcoin blockchain has been created by the Satoshi Nakamoto, at the time it was originally written in C++. Then later on, people have used the or forked the chain, and they have developed their own way of writing these Bitcoin scripts, and as well as in the Go language also. So afterwards, by looking at this technique, this is a logic actually. So logic is here. You need to provide the hash. You need to provide the signature hash. Then you need to verify this op underscore equal verify. And if both are equal, then only the unlocking will be executed. Now this is a logic. So this logic can also be implemented as a script and also as a normal programming language also. So this is what the idea of behind the smart contracts. Now the logic is smart contract is for example, if two members have agreed upon one contract, the logic is if so and so has sent this much material, then second party has to provide the money. That means who will check this actually? Obviously there should be some logic should be written in any of the programming language, so that that whenever that event was happened, automatically that logic will be verified, and if the logic is true, then the amount will be automatically credited back to the sender. So this is the way how the logic works. So that is the reason this was realized first in the blockchain called Ethereum, which was introduced in 2014 with the special feature of writing the scripts by the developers itself, which is called smart contract. So this Bitcoin script is the foundation with which the logic have been incorporated on the blockchain, so that no third party or no user can be involved. Once it is deployed onto the blockchain, when the event has occurred, automatically that script will be executed, and corresponding action will be taken place. So that is the reason Ethereum has become the very popular after the Bitcoin. The reason is in Bitcoin there is no smart contracts, only the inbuilt scripts will be there, and these inbuilt scripts will be generated whenever the corresponding transaction was initiated. But in case of the Ethereum kind of blockchain, it is also having the cryptocurrency, and also have the user or given the user a facility to create his own business logic and can be incorporated onto the blockchain. So this is what the difference that made the Ethereum as the blockchain version 2.0, and whenever we develop the decentralized applications on top of the Ethereum blockchain, then we'll call it as the blockchain version 3.0. So this is the way how the blockchain versions have been evolved, especially the giving of the user flexibility to write his own logic and incorporate in the blockchain. Based on that, the versions have been developed. So for all these things, the basic thing or basic idea has started from the Bitcoin scripts.